If I will be starting any business in 2026, these are the top 3 businesses I will start with. First one is parking lot.
Let me ask you something. What if I told you that one of the most profitable businesses in America is something you drive past every single day without ever thinking twice about it? No fancy technology, no complicated product, no employees running around with clipboards. Just a flat piece of land, some painted lines on black asphalt, a machine that takes your money. That is it. And yet, that boring, ugly, totally ignored patch of ground is quietly making its owners anywhere from $73,000 to over $1 million a year. I am talking about parking lots. And today, we are going to break down the full economics of owning one. What it costs to start, how much money it can make you, why it works so well, and why some of the smartest investors in America are putting their money into this business right now, while everyone else is looking the other way. By the end of this video, you are going to see a parking lot very differently. Because this is not just a place to leave your car. This is one of the oldest, simplest, and most overlooked money machines in the entire country. Let us get into it. Before we talk about money, let us talk about the basic problem that parking lots solve. Because here is the thing. Every single car in America has to go somewhere when it is not moving. Think about that for a second. There are roughly 290 million registered vehicles in the United States right now, and every one of those cars spends about 95% of its life just sitting, parked, not moving. Now, if you live in the suburbs, that is fine. You have a driveway, maybe a garage, no big deal. But what about downtown Chicago, downtown Houston, downtown Los Angeles? People are pouring into these cities every single day to go to work, go to restaurants, go to hospitals, go to concerts, and they have nowhere to put their cars. The streets are packed. The driveways do not exist. The garages that do exist are charging by the hour. And that is exactly where the parking lot business was born. Someone, a very smart, very patient someone, looked at a vacant piece of land in the middle of a busy city and thought, people need a place to put their cars, and I have space. Let me charge them for it. That idea, in its simplest form, is still the entire business model in 2026. And the beautiful thing about it? The problem is not going away. More people are moving to cities, more businesses are opening, more events are being held, more people are driving, and there is only so much land to go around. Which means as long as people drive cars in America, and Americans are not stopping anytime soon, someone has to provide somewhere to park them. And that someone can charge money for it. Okay, so parking lots are a real business. They make real money. The industry is massive. The margins are incredible. How does a regular person actually get into this? Let us break it down into simple steps and real numbers. Step 1. The land. The first thing you need is a piece of land to park on. This is almost always the biggest cost. Land prices in the United States vary enormously depending on where you are. According to current market data, land costs anywhere from $1,500 per acre in rural areas all the way up to $200,000 per acre or more in major city centers. If you want to start small, a modest lot in a smaller city or near a suburban commuter station, you might be looking at anywhere from $50,000 to $200,000 just for the land. If you are going for a prime downtown spot in a major city like Chicago, New York, or Los Angeles, that land could cost you several $million just to own the dirt. Here is the smart move a lot of new investors use. Instead of buying the land, you lease it. You find a landowner who is not doing anything with their property, maybe it is just sitting there, and you offer to pay them monthly rent in exchange for the right to operate a parking lot on it. This drops your upfront cost dramatically. Step 2. Building the lot. Once you have your land, you have to actually build the parking lot. The main cost here is paving. According to HomeAdvisor and multiple contractor sources, asphalt paving for a parking lot costs between $2 and $4.50 per square foot in 2025. For a medium-sized lot that fits about 50 cars, you are looking at roughly $20,000 to $45,000 just for the asphalt. A standard parking space requires about 300 square feet including the driving lane, so a 50-space lot needs around 15,000 square feet of paved surface. On top of paving, you need to add land grading and drainage, $50,000 to $100,000 depending on the site. Signage and painted lines, $10,000 to $20,000. Lighting, $15,000 to $30,000. A payment system, either a ticket machine, a pay-by-phone system, or a gate with an automated reader, $5,000 to $25,000. Security cameras, $5,000 to $15,000. Add it all up, and a small to medium surface lot, not including the land itself, will run you somewhere between $100,000 and $300,000 in construction and setup costs. A large lot with 200 spaces would run between $195,000 and $390,000 for asphalt alone, according to industry data, before you add all the other features. So, if we put a realistic all-in number together for a first-time investor starting a modest but professional surface lot with about 50 spaces in a solid suburban or small city location, land purchase or lease deposit, $30,000 to $150,000. Construction and paving, $100,000 to $200,000. Equipment and technology, $20,000 to $50,000. Permits and legal, $5,000 to $15,000. Insurance for the first year, $5,000 to $10,000. Total estimated startup cost for a small lot, roughly $160,000 to $425,000. That is the range a serious first-time operator is looking at. Not cheap. But compared to opening a restaurant, building a retail store, or buying a commercial property, it is remarkably simple infrastructure for what it can generate. Now for the part everyone actually wants to know. How much money does this thing make? Let us start simple. According to the International Parking Institute, urban parking lots generate between $2 and $8 per parking space per day, depending on location and demand. Let us use a conservative middle number, $5 per space per day at a 70% occupancy rate, meaning 7 out of 10 spaces are filled on any given day. A small 50-space lot at $5 per space per day at 70% occupancy, 365 days a year, 50 spaces times 70% occupancy equals 35 cars per day. 35 cars times $5 per day equals $175 per day. $175 per day times 365 days equals $63,875 per year in gross revenue. That is before expenses, things like maintenance, insurance, property taxes, and any attendant or management fees. After those costs, a small lot might net somewhere in the range of $30,000 to $45,000 per year in profit. Now, let us scale up. According to Parking Box, a 100-space urban surface lot charging $10 per day at 70% occupancy generates approximately $255,500 per year. Multiple sources confirm that a well-run small lot of 20 spaces averaging $10 per space per day generates around $73,000 in gross annual revenues. And those are just surface lots, the flat asphalt kind. A parking structure, a multi-story garage, can do significantly more. A 500-space parking garage with a mix of hourly, daily and monthly parkers can generate over $1 million annually, according to Parking Box industry data. Now here is what really multiplies the money. The smartest parking lot operators do not just charge for parking. They add extra revenue streams on top. Monthly subscription passes. Instead of paying daily, a regular customer pays a flat fee every month, say $150 to $200 per month, in exchange for unlimited parking. This gives the owner predictable, guaranteed income every month, even when daily traffic is slow. Event pricing. When a big game, a concert or a convention is nearby, the lot can charge 3, 4, even 5 times the normal rate. A lot that normally charges $10 a day can charge $50 on Super Bowl Sunday. That is pure extra profit for the same piece of land doing the same thing. Electric vehicle charging stations. As more Americans drive EVs, adding even 2 or 3 charging stations can generate hundreds of extra dollars per month in charging fees. Advertising. Some lot owners rent out billboard or fence space to advertisers, adding another $500 to $2,000 per month in passive income without doing anything extra. According to the National Parking Association's 2024 survey, parking lots that use smart technology and multiple revenue streams outperform traditional single-rate lots by 25 to 35% in total revenue. And the profit margins on all of this? Industry data consistently shows 15 to 30% net margins for standard operations, with well-optimized urban lots reaching 50 to 70% margins, some of the highest in any real estate-adjacent business. Here is something that almost nobody talks about when they think about investing. Boring businesses win, not the flashy ones, not the ones with the celebrity investors and the Super Bowl commercials, the boring ones, the ones nobody is excited about, the ones that just do the same thing every day, rain or shine, recession or boom, and collect money quietly for decades. Parking lots are the definition of a boring business. They do not have complicated supply chains. They do not have perishable inventory. They do not have demanding customers who need to be pampered. They just sit there. They do their job. They collect money. And critically, demand for parking does not disappear when the economy slows down. People still need to get to work. They still need to go to the hospital. They still need to park somewhere. That is the kind of business that weathers recessions better than almost anything else. While restaurants were closing and retailers were shutting down in 2020, parking lots were still collecting fees from essential workers, hospital visitors, and anyone who still needed to be somewhere. The US Census Bureau confirms that the parking industry has produced over $11.2 billion in revenue from employer-operated facilities alone as of its most recent full data period, and that number has consistently grown over the past 2 decades.
Second business is vending machine.
What if I told you there is a business in America that makes money while you sleep, while you eat dinner, while you watch TV, and even while you are on vacation? No boss, no employees, no store to open, no customers to deal with. Just a machine, sitting in a corner somewhere, quietly collecting dollars, all day, every day. I am talking about vending machines. And today we are going to break down the full economics of owning one. How much it costs to start, how much money it can actually make you, and whether this business is as good as it sounds, or too good to be true. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you are going to see that little snack machine in the hallway very, very differently. Here is something interesting about modern life. We are busy. Like, really busy. We do not have time to sit down for a full meal every time we are hungry. We do not always have time to drive to a store. We do not always carry cash to tip someone or wait in a long line. We just want something right now, right here, without any hassle. That is the problem that vending machines solve, and it is a problem that never goes away. Think about where vending machines live. Hospitals, where families are waiting for hours with no cafeteria nearby. Office buildings, where workers need a quick snack at 2 in the afternoon. Schools, where students are hungry between classes. Airports, where travelers are stuck at a gate with nothing around them. In every single one of those places, someone is hungry, thirsty, or tired, and they will happily pay a few dollars to fix that problem instantly. That is the entire vending machine business, right there. You are not selling a product, you are selling convenience. And convenience? People pay for it every single day. According to IBIS World, vending machine operators across the United States generated justified $7.7 billion in revenue in 2025. That is billions of dollars from machines that just stand there. And there are more than 6.9 million vending machines operating in America right now. More than any other country in the world except Japan. This is a massive, proven, real industry. And the beautiful part? You can own a piece of it for just a few $1,000s. Okay, so how does a regular person actually get into this business? Let us break it down. Simple steps, real numbers. Step 1. Buy your machine. This is your biggest cost up front. But here is the good news. Vending machines are one of the cheapest businesses you can possibly start. According to NerdWallet and multiple industry sources, a used vending machine costs between $1,200 and $3,000. A brand new snack or drink machine costs between $3,000 and $6,000. A fancier smart machine with a touchscreen and card reader runs between $5,000 and $10,000. If you are just starting out and want to keep risk low, grab a used machine for around $2,000. That is less than most people spend on a vacation. Step 2. Find your location. This is the most important decision you will make in this entire business. The machine is just a box. The location is everything. Hey! The best locations are what people call captive audiences. What? That means people who are stuck somewhere with not many options and a reason to spend money. Think about an urgent care clinic. People sitting in a waiting room for 90 minutes with nothing to do. According to NAV, one vending operator described exactly this scenario. If just 10 out of 80 patients buy a $4 energy drink, that is $40 a day from one machine in one location. That is over $1,000 a month from one machine in a waiting room. Other great spots include factories, office buildings, apartment complexes, gyms, schools, hotels, and laundromats. Now here is the thing. Most location owners will want a cut, called a commission, usually between 5 and 15% of your sales. That is fair. They are giving you space, electricity, and access to their customers. Step 3. Stock your machine. Your first stock order, filling the machine for the first time, will cost between $150 and $500 depending on what you sell. Chips, drinks, candy bars, granola bars. Buy in bulk from a wholesale store like Costco or a cash and carry supplier to keep your costs low. Here is a quick example. You buy a bag of chips for 50 cents. You sell it for $2. That is a $1.50 profit on one bag. A candy bar costs you 30 cents. You sell it for $1.50. That is a margin of over 70% on a single item. 70% margin on candy bars just sitting in a machine. Step 4. Collect your money. Once the machine is placed and stocked, your main job is to show up every 1 to 2 weeks to restock and collect the cash or check your digital payment dashboard. That is it. A few hours per machine per month. Now the part you have been waiting for. How much does this thing actually make? According to DFY Vending and multiple industry sources, a single machine placed in a good location generates between $300 and $1,500 in monthly gross revenue. After you subtract your product costs, location commission, and maintenance, your net profit per machine lands between $100 and $500 per month. Let us use a middle number. Say your machine nets $300 per month in profit. That is $3,600 per year from one machine. That cost you maybe $3,000 to buy. You paid for the machine in about 12 months, and after that, almost everything it earns is pure profit, every single month, for years. Now here is where this gets really interesting, because one machine is just the beginning. According to Swoop Funding, 10 well-placed machines netting $300 per month each gives you $3,000 per month. That is $36,000 per year in profit, working a few hours a week. And some operators go further. According to Vensoft, a 25-machine route run efficiently can generate between $1,200 and $3,000 per month in net profit. That is a part-time income from a business with no employees and no storefront.
Third business is Laundromat.
Buy a laundromat, they say, and the money just falls into the machines forever. That's the pitch every passive income video makes. But here's the strange part. Starting a small business in America is basically a coin flip. About half don't make it to year 5. Laundromats blow that number away. And yet, the owners who actually try to make this business passive are the ones who quietly lose money on it for years without ever noticing. By the end of this video, you'll know why laundromats are one of the safest bets in small business, why the machine that looks the least important is actually your top earner, and why the same bill that guarantees your income can just as easily wipe out your entire profit. Laundromats come in 3 sizes. A small store buying into an existing laundromat with older machines runs $50,000 to $200,000. One owner in Cincinnati, Dave Menz, bought his first store off Craigslist for $85,000. It was losing money when he got it. A mid-size, brand new build runs $200,000 to $500,000, covering plumbing, wiring, and dozens of commercial machines. A large, full-service store with wash and fold and delivery built in can run past $1 million. 3 laundromats in Buffalo, New York, once sold together for nearly $9.2 million. Add it all up, and America's roughly 30,000 laundromats bring in about $5 billion a year, quietly, without anyone throwing them a parade. But the building is never the whole story. In one California town, government impact fees alone pushed a new laundromat's cost past $800,000 before a single washer was installed. You'll also need a business license, a health permit for your water, a fire permit for your dryers, since built-up lint is one of the most common causes of commercial fires, and in some cities, an environmental permit just for what goes down your drain. Most owners also sign leases of 10 to 20 years because the plumbing and wiring cost too much to walk away from early. This was never a business you could quietly test for 6 months. So, where does the profit actually come from? Every load of laundry costs you something real. Water, gas to heat that water, and electricity to run the machine. Electricity is usually the biggest slice of that bill, with water and gas splitting much of the rest. Altogether, it usually eats 15 to 20 cents of every dollar a customer pays you. The rest, after rent and repairs, is yours. Here's the easiest way to picture it. If a wash costs you $1.50 in water and gas, and you charge $5 for it, you keep $3.50 every single time that machine spins. Do that a few hundred times a day, every day, for years, and that small gap becomes your entire business. But that gap isn't fixed. Run a store making $30,000 a year with old, inefficient machines, and your utility bill alone can eat up to double what you take home, turning a real business into a real loss. Run the same store with modern, efficient machines instead, and utilities shrink to 15% of revenue. Same building, same customers. The only difference is how well you manage that one number. Here's the surprising part. You'd guess the dryer, the machine burning all that expensive gas, makes the most money. It doesn't. The washer does, earning $1,000 to $2,000 a month, almost double what a dryer brings in. Why? Because every customer has to wash their clothes. Not everyone uses your dryer. Plenty just take wet clothes home to air dry. The machine people think of as just the first step is actually the star of the store, which is why the smartest owners fill their stores with more washers than dryers, not the other way around. The rest of the building is built to keep you there a little longer. Comfortable seating, free Wi-Fi, a vending machine, a TV. None of that is charity. The longer you wait, the more likely you are to buy a snack, add a load, or sign up for the wash and fold counter instead of doing it yourself. And every one of those extra dollars has nothing to do with the machines themselves. Stores that switch from coin slots to card readers and apps see customers spend 17 to 22% more because paying with a tap feels smaller than watching your coins disappear. Most of your neighborhood only has one laundromat they'll ever use. 87% of customers live within a mile of it. That's why drop-off and pick-up customers matter so much. Dave Menz's delivery service, Happy Nest, brought in $462,000 in a single year, almost a third of his total business, from customers who never touch one of his machines. They come back every single week, and they pay far more per visit than someone feeding quarters into a slot, because they're paying to get their time back, not just clean clothes. So here's the whole business in one sentence. Price per load multiplied by how many loads each machine runs a day, multiplied by how many machines you own, multiplied by how often the same people walk back through your door. So, if the math is this reliable, why does anyone ever lose money on a laundromat? Because reliable isn't the same as automatic. Rent usually eats about 9% of your revenue. Utilities take 20 to 30% more if your machines are old. Repairs run 15 to 20% of your operating costs, and a single service call can cost up to $500. Add it all up, and a well-run store keeps 20 to 35 cents of every dollar. A poorly run one can keep nothing at all. Two mistakes account for almost every laundry business that fails. Mistake 1, chasing speed instead of margin. In 2013, a startup called Washio launched with a simple pitch, the Uber for laundry. Pick up your dirty clothes, wash them, and bring them back clean in 24 hours, all through an app. Investors loved it, pouring in nearly $17 million. But close to 60% of every order went straight to paying someone else to actually wash the clothes, on top of drivers, vehicles, and a $5.99 delivery fee that never covered the real cost. Washio grew to 7 cities in 3 years and still ran out of road. It shut down in 2016, and its assets were bought by a competitor days later. Proof the idea wasn't crazy, just the economics of doing it Washio's way. Convenience isn't a business model if it loses money on every single order. Mistake 2, growing through debt instead of cash. A company called CoinMac spent the 1990s buying up smaller laundry route operators across the country, financing it almost entirely with borrowed money. By then, CoinMac was already a real profitable business, servicing tens of thousands of machines in thousands of apartment buildings. But its debt grew 8 times over, from about $42 million to $345 million in just 3 years, and it eventually became a $200 million a year public company carrying far too much of that debt. The machines kept running fine the whole time. Apartment buildings always need clean laundry. It was the interest on all that borrowed money that nearly broke the company. And when the financial crisis hit a few years later, CoinMac couldn't keep up with its own debt payments. The laundry never stopped. The debt did the damage. Zoom out, and the whole industry is a strange kind of paradox. About half of small businesses in America don't make it to their 5th year. Laundromats survive at 90 to 95% over that same stretch, one of the best odds of any small business you can start. But ask any real owner, and they'll tell you the same thing. This is not passive income. The stores that get treated like a slot machine, ignored, unmaintained, left to run on autopilot, are the ones that quietly bleed cash for years before anyone notices, right up until the lease that seemed like a formality is the reason they can't just walk away. So what does this look like in real dollars? Buy a small existing store for around $85,000 and you might bring in close to $120,000 a year with around $30,000 in real profit, paid back in under 3 years. Build a larger full-service store from scratch for around $600,000 and you're looking at closer to $500,000 a year in revenue with $70,000 to $80,000 in profit in year one alone,